Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Red and Dread podcast. Tonight, we're talking about why do we create chaos on purpose in our lives? Why is pain more familiar to us than peace? Why does stillness feel like suffocation? Personally, I think a lot of us didn't necessarily grow up with stillness. We grew up around a lot of tension, some yelling, uncertainty, quick exits, loud silences. So I feel like to a lot of people, when everything's like calm, it feels suspicious. Almost even like give people anxiety in a way.
Would you say that this chaos or pain is that do you feel like that's equivalent to the suffering described in Buddhism?
Actually, I hadn't thought about that, but that, you know, yeah, I would say yeah.
Okay. Do you think here let's run down the four noble truths of Buddhism real quick. Because the first, life contains suffering. The second, suffering is caused by attachment. Three is there's a way to end suffering. And then the last one is the path to end the suffering is a full path, which that one's not so much of a truth we need to question at the moment.
Okay, so we could go. What was the first one again? Can you repeat the first one?
Oh yeah, so life contains suffering. Like we both, that's a pretty fair thing to agree on, right?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty like I would say most people like have that general understanding like life does definitely contain suffering. I would say we even are trained to associate calm with the calm before the storm, so we're almost like in anticipation of um
More suffering.
suffering. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So do you think that maybe there's like this spiritual engine that one of the maybe the exhaust of said spiritual engine is suffering, the runoff, having, I don't know, does that speak at all to you?
Yeah, I would say so. I could even say that I would associate like the spiritual engine with maybe like your nervous system in a way. So like,
Mm, okay.
when things are good, like the point I was making, like when things are good, we panic a lot of times because we don't trust it. Because like we just said, we've been trained to like anticipate these things. So, everyone wants like calmness and you want your life to be as drama free as possible. But I feel like having that, like legitimately having that requires like learning a new nervous system or like spiritual engine, if you will, to minimize the suffering. Like you wouldn't be able to like eradicate it, obviously, fully, but I mean, you can minimize it.
I'm building a question real quick because
Okay,
I
go
thought
ahead.
I thought you said something really interesting. So
Oh,
you were
all
sa-
right,
you
nice. All right.
so you were saying the nervous system is like the physical equivalent of this spiritual engine, and the
Yes.
spiritual engine's byproduct or a refuse product is suffering. And the positive output from this spiritual engine is what? Is that the attachment to life? Is that the attachment? Is it the binding the soul to the living realm?
I, honest, okay, all of those are good possible, like could be. I would say I think it's that excitement, or like you said, did you say attachment to life? Like, I would say the benefit of it would be like an excitement, an overall optimistic and like curiousness still about life versus someone with too much, like, because I'm sure it's agreed we all know we're gonna suffer like to a degree no matter what, but it can be minimized to a way to where it doesn't affect your outlook on life so much. Like people with a lot of suffering, I'm not saying it's always directly their fault, but like someone that's just really suffering and like their mindset is in a low mind state, like their
Okay.
outlook on life is different than someone who's like, not not in that same mindset. You know what I mean?
So the spiritual engine's byproduct or positive output would be the ability to enjoy and create positive moments in
Yes.
life.
Yeah.
I'm using positive too much, but I think I hear what you're saying then. I I
I
understand.
mean, yeah, I'm just trying to associate like, suffering positive. It's like that scale. So that scale, but yeah, I'm following for sure. Like to me,
Uh,
the so your brain gets bored fast, in my opinion. So dopamine, it's like your reward chemical is it doesn't care like if what happened is good or bad. It just wants like something. And I feel like that's the problem with like drama or even negativity. You could say suffering to a degree because it feels like a drug in like a weird way. Like people will be like really mad, but sometimes they're like a little entertained by them being mad. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's like this weird like chaos. It's like a chaos high, you could say, that people get addicted to. They get addicted to that spike, even if it's stress.
yeah. Almost like that suffering is being recycled.
Yeah. Ooh,
Is
that's a
that
really good analogy.
and
Yeah,
it because it's like it is almost impressive, right?
for sure. Absolutely. Like
Okay.
it's almost like it's almost like it's kind of wired behavior in there a little bit. I'm not gonna say fully, but like people love red flags. And I don't think it's because they can't see them. I think it's because they're bored. I think,
Uh-huh.
to a degree. That's what I'm kind of getting
Uh,
at. Like, to me, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
you know, I Lots of people are colorblind. Lots of people are colorblind, and flags don't always work like lights on a you know stop stoplights. Stoplights have a rule. Red and green, they're supposed to be in like certain spots so that the colorblind people still know what's up.
Fair point.
You know, Somebody could be waving a big old green flag, and these colorblind motherfuckers are gonna be going, "Oh no, oh oh no."
Oh, that's a fair point. No, that's a fair point. Very true. Very true.
But that being
But
that being said, that being said, we say no. You're right though. There's lots of
and
people
I'm
that
saying,
like
just a
run
little.
towards a fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They run towards a fire. I think I think I think a lot of it is Schadenfreude. You know, there's this desire to see disaster. You know, whether and it's like this. I mean, it's not even. I gave it more of than what it really is. It's just like being able to find joy in someone else's pain. Like Freud talked about it. It's only natural to do it, but like, does it scale? And lots of people would say it does. Like they call it disaster porn for a reason. Like there is something that is you know triggered in our nervous system when we see it.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
there is a chase.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like it has to do with people wanting to feel something, even if it's
Uh-huh.
like can be painful, you know? Um, they still have that desire to feel something. People want like tension, withdrawal. They want re-engagement and then closure and then sometimes confusion.
Yeah.
And then you find love sometimes at the end of all that shit. I don't know, I'm just, but
Yeah, what's that bait there? There's no, it's hard to say. There's like this. I think that there's this defense mechanism that if I can't remember if it's called snow globing, but like there's this enchanting effect of being able to shake a snow globe. There's like this distress and this like torrent of motion, and it spins and it spins and it whips around, and you get sucked in. You know, you could be in a burning house, and you could spin it, and I'm not going to say it hypnotizes you, but there is something about that spinning and
it's
sometimes even gyrating. There's something about like undulations and spinning and gyrating that does like pull you in, right? And that is a snow globe, but that could also be, these interpersonal emotions or even, self emotions.
it's like
Some
destroying something good and then kind of being like, why did I
or maybe not even thinking you're destroying it because, in your mind it's this contained like thing that you have in your hand, as and you can shake it and it's in distress, but it all settles and it's still in your hand. And of course some people are clumsy and they're going to drop it, right? And that's where we get like, you know a failure to keep a relationship because like you kept spinning drama. Or
So you think it's like a control thing? Like we sabotage because deep down we don't feel like safe unless something's wrong or on fire, like out of control, or like out of it making you feel in control
I mean, yeah, that could be
to a degree.
it.
I'm not saying that's the bottom line, but I'm.
Yeah, yeah, like totally, like a coping mechanism that is branching off of this need to be in control of something. So, but also there's this like transference of pain, right? So like say there's pain in area A, and operator is in in you know in pain in period A, but isn't in pain in period B, or in yeah. So if they can transfer some of the mental energy that is causing them pain to area B where they have control of it, and they believe it's a more stable place to have that combustion happening. Maybe
Okay.
I don't know. I don't
Do you
know.
think so in hopping on back to what you said about okay those compartments of the brain and like that transference, so like for some people would you say that like they need a distraction from themselves
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be
That
able
that
to
is.
like you know.
I guess that is what I'm saying. I'm saying that this snow globe effect is a form of distracting themselves from other terrors that might be happening around them. Yeah,
Okay, okay, that's where I
yeah.
was going.
Okay, yeah,
Because I feel like people, for a lot of people, and like I'm guilty of this too myself, it's hard to be present sometimes. You want that distraction to be sometimes just sitting with, you hear all these quotes like be in the moment and like, the past and the future, live in the present. And it's like people do not want to live in the present. Everyone's like, you're either tripping on the past or you're worried about the future, but most people are not locked in on
to the
right now. And
moment.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
I am, but I try, you know what I mean? Like you want the distraction. You don't want to look like right in front of you. Sometimes you're like, I'd rather be like, what do we got over here? And um,
yeah.
just be present. It's hard to sit with your own madness sometimes. That shit it's hard.
Well, I want to get back to the engine, um, connection that you made. What do you think it would be the best fuel for this spiritual engine that allows you to create and enjoy life?
Good. The fuel. What would okay.
And obviously, I probably some fuel probably gives off more exhaust, and i.e. suffering, right?
Yeah, good question. So I would say being able to be honest with yourself, sit with your thoughts, not run from them. Um, like your real thoughts, like things like people don't really talk about kind of thoughts. I feel like that would be good fuel. Like it's not being passive with yourself could be
Okay.
powerful. You kind of got to be, you kind of got to face yourself and deal with like whatever it is you find. I feel like that's good fuel for that spiritual machine. So it's putting out minimal suffering.
Okay. Okay, so it's like
Choosing your presence and the right now over like your performance and how you look to people kind of thing.
okay. So just kind of letting the engine run as like your soul would have it. You know what does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it's like when you try to do something that's off kilter is when you get like exhaust.
Yes.
Okay.
Like to me that's just avoiding your presence. Like people confuse like calmness and everything's like really chill with like being bored. So they choose like more of a chaotic or dramatic situation to feel alive, get some kind of entertainment instead of just, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So in a lot of ways it's all about like what you put into this spiritual engine just as much as what you don't put in.
Right. Right. So let's say you're running your spiritual engine off of like social connection, right? You're going to have some suffering. You're going to have some exhaust, right? Because there's going to be your engine's going to, come up against other people's engines. They can't all interact always in unison or even like in a way that doesn't like break the group or something,
Okay, yeah.
you know? But
I was just gonna like again piggyback on what you said, like, you know, so say you're in a relationship and things get just like, I don't know, quiet, we'll call it. Like there's no drama, there's no tension, but there's no like spark either, let's say. Um a lot of people they're gonna be like, oh, are they losing interest, like or something wrong, what have you, but a lot of people like instead of asking, they're gonna cause some type of like storm. They're gonna try to get some kind of reaction. Like,
and do you think that's just the easiest energy they have available to them? You know what I
yes,
mean?
or at least,
Like,
or it feels that way to them. At least it feels that way. Like they they want the chaos, I'll call it, because not because they like it so much, but because people think like silence means rejection, I think sometimes. So there's like a desperation for like some type of reaction or like something. Because we watch it, we create it. Like we were talking earlier kind of about like the reality TV, like we're very entertained by collapse. In my
yeah,
opinion. Like, I'm just saying, like, as general, not every individual, but like overall, you look at the numbers, like we feed on dysfunction as a society. Like that's what's
Yeah.
popular for some reason. Like maybe maybe because it makes us feel better about our own shit. I don't know. To a degree. We're like, well, I'm not out there doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But, I would say like being, entertainment's good and important, but like being stimulated, it's not the same thing as being like alive, in my opinion. It's not the same exact thing.
If you had to be around a certain type of fuel burner, you know, like let's say not in a relationship, but like let's say in a workplace, you know, what would be the number one fuel that you would want to be ignoring in a workplace? Because and we'll get back to what we were talking about with the partner in a second, because like if you think about like good things as potential fuel, right?
Yeah.
Like connection in a workplace, that's great, you know, but that's a lot of people, and you can't connect in that large of a group cohesively easily, so like
Yeah.
smaller groups are going to be what's going to happen, and the connection fuel isn't going to be a global thing. But if it was like purpose, everyone has a purpose here, right? And that's to get through the workday without anyone getting injured, and produce what we're producing or whatever.
Yeah. Complete your task for the day, like,
Right,
or in your department. Okay.
right. So do you think there is possibly, like, especially with the people we're talking about in like personal relationships, that they are running most of their day on a certain fuel tank, and when they should be switching over, they're just not? Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
sometimes you need to like huff a little exhaust of like, oh, these people are talking negative about me, because they are, you know but when you get away from those people, you got to stop, you know acknowledging that people are talking bad about you, because those people aren't around anymore. And it's like, I don't know.
And
I
that's what's
but
hard, I think, for people is sitting with that, like sitting with that, being able to like have that disconnect and not distract yourself with that, I guess. Like that's hard. I think that's hard for people. Like you're saying, once you get out of the situation, you should be able to like, and I think that's the hard part for people like that, making that disconnect, because that would be, to me, that would be you being kind of at peace, like you're able to like whatever, obviously if somebody's saying something about you that ain't true, like why would it really bother you to a degree if it's not true? I mean, of course you're gonna stand up for yourself. I'm not saying, anything like that. Don't defend yourself or something like that. But to a large degree, if somebody's just saying a little something running their mouth, like I'm not gonna react because I'm like, well, we all know that ain't true. So go ahead and say what you're gonna say. Like, certain things deserve a reaction, but like little stuff, like it doesn't. But if you were to just ignore that and be calm, you would be, you know, at peace, or you would be fueling your spiritual engine with like the right things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like it just feels weird for people to, they don't know that feeling, or it feels foreign to them, of like literally like disconnecting, not caring like what someone says. Like it's foreign. It could be even triggering to them.
Okay.
I think, and I'm not, obviously this is opinion, but sir, I think some people, I don't know who, but I'm just saying, right, like I think to a degree that's where anxiety comes from, is like when things are really calm, like it triggers anxiety in a way, because like your body's like, and your brain even is anticipating like something, anything, like it's way too calm, like, and it's a weird feeling. So like for people, so it's like,
Do you think there's a difference between synthetic and non-synthetic fuels in this situation?
yeah, I do. I would say in the sense of like lying to yourself, or like, yeah, or like, different forms of denial, like a toxic situation. Not being honest with yourself, it's gonna be fuel. You think it's good, but it's maybe not. Like, it's not the same as like, it's like kind of the way I see it. Like, yeah, you could definitely be like, or if it depends how you want to see it. Like, I would say in this case, the natural fuel is better than the synthetic for the soul.
Hmm. Okay.
So yeah, you would want the natural, like, fuel of like positivity, and like, you're not in like toxic situations lying to yourself. You're not, actively putting yourself in like chaotic situations mentally, physically, and things like that, versus like when people are in toxic relationships, or even like you could even say abusive and like, really bad relationships, there always is like a stage of denial, like, oh, well, I was just there long enough because they would change, or like, I didn't want to, there's all these different forms of denial. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
these are things that we see. So I'm like, people
Yeah.
are constantly putting themselves in a chaotic situation, but it's in a way, it's like they don't know better, or they don't even, it's like you're subconsciously doing this sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I think when,
Do you ever feel like there's a a chase to have these experiences so you can like meditate through them? And maybe like not just meditate, right? But like what's a good way to put it? Like let's say somebody gets cheated on, right? You know, there's this journey that you get to go on after that, where you get to, rebuild yourself, you know, find love for yourself again because somebody hurt you. Do you think that there's a chase for some of that? Like maybe it's not necessarily the chaos, maybe it is the benefit that comes at the end. But that benefit is like it doesn't necessarily need to be happening, you know?
So it's almost like going through these things can teaches your spiritual machine like how to self repair or like
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
reinforce itself. So along with the fuel, there's like damage that can be done and that will potentially need to be repaired over time. Like you said, learning how to um you know re like for it's if you get cheated on, obviously a ton of people notice like it's like it shakes most people, like your confidence and just there's a lot of uncertainty about certain things about yourself for a little while till you get back, get back out there and you feel, confident and comfortable, I guess again, what I should say. So yeah, I would say that to me it looks like the fuel and then there's also like what you were touching on, like a self repair aspect to it.
Yeah, kind of like how some people get addicted to like doing like too much working out, you know?
Like overkill.
Yeah, like overkill. Like they almost like to. It's like when you overtax your nervous system. Yeah, it's there's a special word for it, but it's like you literally like can't get up. Like your body's just not like putting out that electricity anymore, and like you need to rest. But after you rest, you feel great. Your body's like, okay, we're back. We're ready to put out even more electricity. You know, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it's like I see some behaviors, and it's almost like this, like if you cut yourself enough, you get like scar tissue, right?
Right. The repair.
Yeah, the repair. So it's almost like like cutting.
But it's funny because how you talked about the like benefit of it. W- so like self-inflicted damage and healing from that, I don't feel would have the same benefit as healing from like if someone else hurts you or
Oh,
like caused some
oh,
type of damage. So
don't
it's
get
not as
don't get me
like
wrong. Like cutting would definitely be like looking in the mirror and like telling yourself like you suck and stuff like that or something like along those lines. But like, you know, I've seen people, you know, experience the hospital on purpose, just by going up to somebody at the party and, calling them a word they shouldn't have, and it's just like, oh, it's like, well, I mean, you clearly wanted that to happen.
what did you what other scenario result could you have like
It's,
envisioned here? Yeah.
yeah, like we all know that's what you had planned, you know, and I feel it's kind of like that, you know,
Maybe
it's
I feel
like
like people that's
I'm
crazy.
gonna
People
pick,
will do
I'm gonna
anything, yeah.
pick a fight.
Because people would rather deal with drama, I'm telling you, than deal with themselves. I feel like
No, for real.
Something always has to be going on for people. Like they always got to have some type of like problem with something in their life. Like, and I don't mean like you're not happy with your situation, you're trying to get, not like that, but I mean there's got to be some type of like drama situation
Yeah.
or something. It's like, why is there always something going on?
Oh,
Besides the
that's
normal grind of just trying to make it. Like we all just on that all the time. Like we trying to make it, man, duh. But why is there always something else going on? Like
how I
people
lost my
gotta
tooth.
gotta rest your.
That's how I
You
lost
said
my
what?
tooth. That's how I lost my tooth.
See,
People just have to think something's drama. You have to think that somebody's dissing you. Have to think that you know somebody's trying to get with your girl.
like all the time. Like
Goofballs, goofballs. It's, and you know what? I understand. Sometimes that is the case, but
bro. But I mean,
sometimes it is. But like, it's not all the time. You
and I
know,
feel like if you really feel like that, it's a situation like that. Like stand on it, ask, say something. I'm not saying you gotta cause a whole scene, but like pull someone to the side. I don't know, be a man. If it, you know what I'm saying, like I don't know. Instead of like do all this indirect shit that causes all these other problems, that's the drama and chaos like I'm referring to, Rather than deal with yourself, your problem, like people do all this extra shit based off what they're thinking, but it's to avoid kind of discussing what they're thinking. Like, oh,
yeah,
why didn't you just come out and say it? Well, I didn't want to just come out and say it. Like, why not? That's the simplest thing to do. Instead of all this like, I don't know, random shit. Like people gotta be in the present, and stop worrying about like the performance, how you look to people and how I didn't want to seem this way or that way. No, if you got a problem, like you gotta speak on it, let people know.
I've
It
been
does take a little bit of like courage. I get it. It's
yeah.
voicing problems all the time is like that you have like openly. It's tough, sometimes it's not easy to constantly do that, but that's how you get like telling you, that's how you fuel your spiritual machine right there. It's one of the main ways.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of Chinese literature lately. Um, and like there's this whole idea that like you would rather a lightning strike than a windstorm. A lightning strike is gonna it'll probably hit nothing. Chances are it's hitting the ground. You know, but a windstorm is shaking at all the roofs. It's shaking. You know, it's shaking. It's scaring the animals. You're ruining crops.
I was about to say that. Yeah. Okay. I follow.
But if you can just have that singular moment, like what you're saying, with just voicing what's wrong, that's like a lightning strike. You know, it's probably not going to hit you.
It's gonna hit one inanimate object, and chances are, like you said, it's gonna be of like little or no significance.
Probably,
It's gonna
yeah,
be a tree
probably.
that they want to cut down anyway. Like, hey, look. But that is a great, and that did I just indirectly quote Chinese, ancient Chinese literature? No, I don't know if it's ancient, but start trying to beef it up. Ancient
Oh,
Shaolin monk Chinese
bro,
no, like you're like, I
bro,
didn't even say that.
bro, for real, Chinese literature is like the old stuff is really hard to find, but I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, it's a lot of what you're talking about, to tell you the truth. You know, Wisdom is wisdom, no matter when is the wisdom.
Hey, true that. And yeah, for some reason, like that, people I don't know, they think like noise and stuff is what makes you alive, but it's not. Like overstimulation, it's just a
You know,
distraction.
yeah, bro. There's different frequencies of vibration. You know, sometimes
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Frequency. Sometimes that frequency is low. I feel like it's still, it's quiet, it's a very calm, and that's one of the main rule like frequencies and like places I feel like people avoid. It has to be like your life has to be active and crazy, like for them to feel alive. And I'm like, nah, sometimes smooth and calm is just right. I think people get bored and they confuse that with like abandonment or like some type of like slowdown or failure, even depending on like on the situation. This has been the cure for boredom is pain, and this is Red and Dread. We'll see you guys on the next one.